Hello everyone, Tanak here. Welcome to a special episode where we're gonna discuss the importance of the system you choose to do your production and the rig that are at your disposal when you do. And I'm gonna just try to show you the impact and a bit of the discussion that we're having in the Guns R Us leadership this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with an Orca. Okay, if you go on just Lazy Blacksmith, like the basic page here, and I'll link Lazy Blacksmith in the description because it is, I think it's the most visual tool to really see like where your costs are going. I like it a lot, and I like the interface a lot. So we'll do a case study with an Orca just to show you a little bit how it works. Okay, so by default, the system is set up that you will be building in a normal station and in JITA. You can change that, of course. And then you get all your component here. And assume that, okay, just for the sake of looking at it, it assumes that you have components that are researched at max ME for blueprint for subcomponent, because if you're building an Orca, it's an industrial capital. So for you that are not familiar with that, you will need to build a bunch of capital component, and then you assemble the capital component as a complete industrial ship, and it gives you the idea of what you need. So that's a basic unresearched blueprint for an Orca. You will need all those components here. So for a sensor cluster, a 9 capacitor battery, and everything. And if you go look at the price here, you will see, okay, there's a few things that you need, and that you need to understand is this is based on buying the components. So here, if you click here, you can see that, okay, what value am I using? Am I using the capital sensor cluster? Am I using the sell price in JITA or the buy price? So assuming that you could be buying all those components, that is not building a component but buying all those components, you would pay a total of 680 mil. You would get 100 mil of fee, and so your total bill cost for an Orca would be like 790. And the current sell value, JITA sell value for an Orca is 1.19. So you're making a huge margin, but you will never sell an Orca at that price. At least I don't think so. So you would need to go like, okay, what are the seller right now for an Orca and JITA? And as you see, okay, yeah, it is if you want to see the sell price in JITA. Well, there's not that many, but anyway, so if you want to buy one, just buy one and do the XC, and you would need to check contract, and then you can check the price history, and you see that this is the mineral change that had been announced. It has gone straight into like there's a little bit of lag before the announcement in the mineral, but it's already reflected in the price. So without getting into too much detail on the Orca price per se, I just wanted you to, we'll play mostly with the cost right now. So selling it, you'll obviously try to sell it as much as you want. What you can do is click on a raw component node. So that what it will do is it will assume that you are building every component based from material that you will acquire. And personally, I like to use JITA buy like for everything. So it assumes that you're buying your mineral at JITA buy price, which might be optimistic, but it's a good reference. It's a good baseline, because it means that if you took those mineral and you dump them on a JITA market at that price, that's what you would sell them for. So it is a good a good idea of how much mineral it will cost you to build your thing. And of course, there's the installation cost. The installation cost is the cost of running your build job. So it is assuming that you're running your build job in JITA, which is a very crappy place to run build job, just because the system cost index is so high. So what you would do is you would want to check the system where you're going to build, and the best system to build are systems that aren't used that much. So let's assume Gonzara setup. Okay, you're building in Becquet. So you're building your ship in Becquet, and you also have to build your component in Becquet. And already, if you go see the price here, you can see that my 170 million, I will pay 8 million in installation cost. So that's the cost of running my build job. So already it's a huge difference in price. Just for choosing the right system, we're already shaving off 170 million off an Orca. Well, you're comparing JITA, which is the worst system in the game, I think, to build. But anyway, the idea is there. So that being said, you will not build with unresearched blueprint, or you would be really crazy to build anything large scale with unresearched blueprint. So let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that your component are all research at maximum level, and that your blueprint, your Orca blueprint, is also research at maximum level. Okay, and you can see here that it does affect the quantity that you will need to build up. So let's say, like, look here, like a maximum research blueprint, I would need 35 capital cargo bay, but if my blueprint is not research, I need 38. So you need less component. So what you're doing when you're building an industrial capital, and it's true with T2 Ship 2, is you're kind of double dipping, because you're optimizing the process on every step. A single build job, like a straight a battleship, for a T1 battleship, you only have one build step. So you can optimize that build step. You will save up like 5-10%. You will improve that step, but it's not the same as improving every step of a multi-step process, which will lead to huge gain. So as you see here, already we've shaven off another 150 million of the capital component just using research blueprint. And that's okay, that's finishing a long introduction, but because what I want to show you now is, okay, as you see here, my price here of 873, that would be building at an NPC station. Okay, so that's building at an NPC station. And just to give you an idea, if I go and sell my Orca in JITA, I will sell it at 970. So buying mineral, building at an NPC station that has a very low cost index, you can make 100 million right now by building an Orca. And it's not an advertisement to go build Orca. There's other ship also that you can build. It's just the case study we're using. So right now you could make 100 million building that Orca. It will take you about 2 weeks of building time, and you need capital component construction. So there's some stuff that you need, but it's not a tutorial on how to build an Orca. It's just to show you why the stations are important. So already you will not build, if you're serious about production, you don't want to be building at an NPC station. So you will be using a right arrow. So just using a base right arrow, you're shaving off another 20 million. And that's just using the base right arrow, because a base right arrow will give you 1% bonus. But then you have to take rigs into account. So assume that the person is in ISEC, and we'll assume the best possible setup in ISEC. So he's using a T2 rig. A T2 rig is 1.5 billion, but let's assume that we're sparing no cost. So he's using a T2 rig for the ship, and he's using a T2 rig for the component. Okay, so we're still talking ISEC. You're starting to shave a little bit more, so you're now at 800, so you save a little bit. But again, you see you're at 816 total to run that chip. But now let's start with the magic of low sec, okay? Or the magic of ISEC, of null sec, but let's start with low sec, okay? Or no, actually we'll start with null, because I want to show you a scenario where you're using T2 rigs for capital, for the ship and for the capital component in nullsec. And another 50 mil that you're saving. So as you can see, it just impacts a lot. Now let's look at a setup like what we're using in Becquet, okay? If you're in low sec, and assume a T1, because you don't want to pay, like, this is less than 500 mil, and this is 1.5 billion mil. But let's just assume that you're in low sec. But in low sec, what you do have for building capital is the magical Tucker ring. A Tucker ring is a Tucker rig is a rig that is specialized for building in low capital component in low sec. So assume that you're using a Tucker rig, okay? So, and a Tucker rig is the same cost as a T1 rig. So it's not, you don't pay that much, but it is really specialized for low sec building of capital component. You're shaving off another 50 mil. So now I made a little sheet here to show you a little bit of difference. So like I said, if you're going with an NPC station, you're basically it's gonna cost you to build your Orca. If you're buying just the mineral, it's gonna cost you 850 million. You can save 20 by using an NPC station in ISEC. A fully rigged station in ISEC will not save you that much. You will save, like, a total, you will save 50 mil. And if you're going with a low sec Tucker, well, you can save, you're saving like 150 almost based from the original price. So if you look just at the profit margin, because that's the price you would sell, that's like the G to buy price for an Orca. So let's say you sell it at that price. Well, you're increasing your margin by almost 13%. But it's huge, because your profit here is 100 mil, your profit here is 250 mil almost. So it is a huge impact in choosing the right structure. And that's kind of why I think that purely ISEC industry is not as efficient. It's clearly not as efficient. I would recommend, if you're serious about industry, if you want to go your own way, negotiate with a pirate group that will let you install someplace in low, or find some corp that do install in low sec, or in null. Don't be the person that build like large scale ship in NPC station in ISEC. You're throwing millions and millions of ISK away. It's not efficient, and that is also just basic margin. Here I'm not counting. I didn't even count the production cost. I just counted the material cost. So you would shave maybe another % or 2 for the production cost, and then you would have the transaction cost of selling it. So if you go at the TTT, you'll still have 1%, or you can go by contract, but you still have to. So the margin is still lower than that. I mean, all in all, get a nice setup. Like a nice setup, I would say, is something like this. This is a nice setup. This is a nice setup. Something like that, where anything that will give you at least 20% on that chart is something that is worth it. Don't build an eye. just don't. That's how I see it. Anyway, so that was my analysis of how you would build an Orca and the impact of choosing the right structure to build it and where it would go. And I mean, an Orca is a thing, but I don't want you guys to think that, okay, I found the magic thing with building Orca. Let's go with whatever, an obelisk, for example, a Charon, or any of these industrial capital. It would be the same idea. Is you would want to have maximum blueprint. You would want to build it in a low sec system. You would want to build in a right arrow with a Tucker ring. So boom, you apply everything like this, and the same goes here. And I'm just assuming a T1 rig. You see, you would be still clearing out like an obelisk value, sell value right now is 1.8 billion. Now, if you're building a component on an obelisk, you're clearing 400 mil right now, if you're using the right structure. If you're not using the right structure, you're leaving at least 200 million, 250 million on the table. So that's my lesson for the day. Guys, choose the right structure to do your build job. And if you don't get access to a corp that do, Guns R Us is recruiting all the time. And there's other really nice industrial outfit there that will surely give you a place if you want to build. Or else, if you want to strike it on your own, well, really consider getting out of the comfort zone of ISAC, because it will really put some oomph in your industrial profit. So that's it for this little small episode, midweek episode. I hope you guys enjoy. If there's any comment, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you Friday with the usual update. So see you then. Bye.